Go.
The Dalai Lama once said, when you talk, you're only repeating what you already know. But if you listen, you may learn something new. As of 2 years ago, I have become deaf in my right ear, and it has been a huge barrier for me to communicate effectively with other people. And being deaf in one ear is really difficult because listening to people it's hard. So when we communicate with someone, listening means you want to listen to the other person rather than just hearing what they have to say to you. In our daily activities every day, we are constantly engaging conversations, we're constantly talking to people, listening to people. And when we listen, it's to help us understand the meaning behind the words that we speak. And today, I'm going to inform you all how listening is the best way to accomplish being an effective communicator. So I will be going over the barriers when we listen. Then I will go over how we can improve our listening skills. And last but not least, I will go over how listening benefits us and communicate effectively. So the barriers when listening. Have you ever encountered a moment with someone where they're talking to you and your mind is just drifting off somewhere else? So this is called rabbit thoughts, and according to Understanding Human Communications by Ronald B. Adler, he explains rabbit thoughts as our attention wandering, we're daydreaming about something, who knows what, and we're thinking about personal interests. For example, I had a friend of mine who was talking to me, and they were talking to me about something I was honestly not even interested about, so I started to think about other things, but mind you, I wasn't making eye contact with them or anything. I was looking into space. And so that's rabbit thoughts, is that I was thinking about personal interest of going home to my dog rather than talking to my friend about whatever topic we were talking about that I had no interest in. And that's the problem when communicating, is that the other person wants you to listen, but you're not there. You're having these rabbit thoughts. You're not giving them your undivided attention. Another factor when listening, according to Ronald B. Adler, in chapter 5 of his textbook, he states that physical noise is also a barrier. So physical noise, we all know what physical noise is. It's the background noises that happens. It lessens our ability to listen to people talk. All those loud noises in the background when you're at concerts, you're trying to talk to someone, but all that loud music is going on. It really is a huge barrier when we're trying to communicate with someone because of those distractions. So now that I've told you a few barriers from listening, now we'll go over how we can improve our listening skills. The first one is to be attentive. You want to be attentive and pay attention to people when you're listening. According to a Forbes article called 10 Steps to Listen Effectively by Diane Skilling, she states that to listen effectively, you can look away every now and then, but mentally screen out those distractions like the background activity, what I just talked about, and noise. So she's saying to really focus your attention on the person rather than looking away and thinking about other stuff, having those rapid thoughts. You want to be like these people. They're giving their focus on them, they're being attentive, making eye contact, and just really giving their undivided attention to the speaker, which I hope you're all doing right now. So another one would be when we have a massive overload, defined from our textbook, the Understanding Human Communications that I just talked about. Massive overload is the overload of text messages, social media, emails, all the internet stuff that you want to call. It's not giving your attention to them. Just how I said, you're not being attentive at all when you have a massive overload, especially in this generation of new technology. We're increasingly getting distracted. We're having more difficulties from listening. So when you're talking to someone today, would you want them to be on their phone and listen to you rather than giving them their undivided attention and really focusing on you and giving you eye contact and all of that? And the approach to this problem would be to turn off the phone and close down your email program and devote your attention to a single task before you, which was quoted from Chapter 5 of Understanding Human Communication by Veronica Adler, which I find is a great way to get rid of those distractions and just put it away and give your attention to the person, because you don't want to be in this type of scenario where everyone's just on their phone and you're wanting them to listen to you. You're not fulfilling the needs of both parties. You're only fulfilling the needs of your party. Also, sometimes, there's that person who won't stop talking and just hogs the conversation, and they're just speaking upon what they already know rather than listening and learning something new. Quote Dalai Lama. And have you ever met someone where they were talking like crazy, not crazy, but talking throughout the whole entire time, and then when it's your time to talk, they just go to their phone and they kind of just dismiss you in a way, rather than listening to what you have to say. So businessmen also do that. In an article called Best Advice, Listen More Than You Talk by entrepreneur Richard Branson, he quotes that the most successful entrepreneurs I know all have excellent listening skills in common. So, meaning being a leader, entrepreneur, you want to be a good listener, because how are you going to gain knowledge and information from other people and build your leadership skills when you don't even want to listen to anybody else? So now I'm going to show you a short snippet of a TED Talk by William Ury called The Power of Listening.
In short, listening may be the cheapest concession we can make in a negotiation. It costs us nothing, and it brings huge benefits. Listening may be the golden key that opens the door to human relationship.
So he basically said that listening, it builds relationship, which is now what I'm going to go over on how communication benefits us. Listening benefits us. So when we listen, we want to fulfill the needs, the goals and needs of both parties when we're conversing. So when we listen, when we're active listening, we're having more in-depth conversations. For example, when you're having a conversation with someone and you two are really engaging with each other, you're creating self-disclosure, and self-disclosure means to be more open about yourself and giving some more in-depth information about who you are as a person to someone else. Which is basically what the previous video says, that you're building relationships. You're becoming close with someone because you're seeing that you're really listening to them and taking into account what they're saying. Nancy Mar-Malejo, a keynote speaker and a leadership coach, wrote an article on compassionate skills and states, listening helps you get out of yourself and focuses on the needs and feelings of others. Meaning you're being more compassionate with other people And that's the benefit from listening, is that we cultivate these compassionate skills. Another way that we benefit from listening is that in group work and being a leader in a group, you create these skills from listening from other people. You collaborate with your members. They see that, oh, you're really listening to me, and so I will listen to you, basically. You know, and you basically learn new ideas. And being a leader in a group, you want to listen to your group members, just how I stated before in the previous slides. So, in conclusion, the best way to communicate with someone is to listen to another person. And today, I hope you took into account what the barriers of listening are, ways to improve listening, and lastly, I know that not all of you are going to be the best listener in the world by the end of this speech, but I hope that you all took into consideration that listening can really make you a competent and effective communicator. So remember how I told you the Dalai Lama said, when you talk, you're only repeating what you already know, but if you listen, you may learn something new. And if you didn't remember, then that means you weren't listening. But I guess you just all learned something new today from this presentation. Thank you.